Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fleet's Random Ramblings. This time, as promised, last week. Yes, I know it's a week late, but look, I started a new job, so everything kind of went up in the air for the last week and a bit, but now, schedule aligned to enable us to do this, so, yeah. So, here we are.
There's been a week at the job. They're now paying for him to not to be there. Basically, it's after a week of the new job. They're now going, here, have money, just don't come in again. So he has time for this.
That'd be nice. Anyway, I am joined, of course, by Dr. Alex Clark, who just, did just interrupt.
Mad disrespect.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Something like that.
But is he wrong?
No, but it was disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
But was it funny?
Anyway,
Not really.
Anyway, so
Uh-huh.
we're live discussing Japan 2025, joined by Dr. Alex Clark and Glenn Stewart currently, along with the regular panel, Foxo, Dragon, Ruinon.
Greetings.
Now that's 3 out of 5. I have it on good authority that Dr. Dan is on his way home, and obviously he'll probably need a little bit of R&R before he comes on, which is completely understandable. I spent like 2 hours in bed after I got home at 2:30. So I completely understand. As for our good colleague Drakinafel, he did say he would be here, maybe not for 6 o'clock, but not too long hereafter. So, knowing Drak as well as I know him and running Ramblings as long as I've run it, that could mean any time between now and midnight. So, God knows.
Midnight, not
Assuming we go that long.
Yes.
Just for ease of mental weight on the person who is not on UK time, what time is it there right now?
Half past
6 o'clock. 6:30.
Okay. Just double checking so I know roughly what my point of alignment is.
So, as this is a special Rambling,
If you're in Central Time where I am, it's 6-hour time difference.
It's 7 in Mountain. I just wanted to make double sure because my brain is not working right now.
no night, it is not a normal Ramblings today. The bot will be open. Basically because, well, it's always open. But I don't think we will have time to get round to regular chat questions today. We have Timu's questions. Of course, if you want to ask any questions related to the trip, please do so. But I won't be taking questions in the normal way that I usually do. I will be cherry-picking questions from the chat. And I do also have some sort of pre-prepared notes, if you will, kind of. Which
that's scary.
Which I've like
That
sort
is
of,
scary.
I assume
sort
it
of-
is a grand total of 1 post-it note with chicken scratch on it.
no, it's basically a few
No.
things that I wanted to discuss that would like generally about the trip, that sort of conversation starters more than anything else. So we are waiting on 2 of our colleagues, so I will actually ask something that Alex can answer because it is a question specifically for him.
Okay.
So, Chandler, we're not. You ask. Feel free to ask questions about the trip, but if you're in Discord and where the bot's not storing the questions away, please hold Discord questions for Friday, as I will run Friday, and I will run a catch-up Ramblings that will basically be this week's normal Ramblings. I'm going to wait Timu to do yours until we have at least 4 people here, which is the majority of the group. But anyway, so Alex, you did a lot of forward reconnaissance in Japan, as you usually do. How did you find that in Japan compared to doing it in other places?
Fine.
Were there any key differences?
Honestly, the big one, realistically, the big difference with doing forward reconnaissance in Japan than most other places is that we've been so far is the size and scope of it. You can, because of the ease of public transport, especially things like in Tokyo Greater Metropolis area, you can wander around quite easily and you can do sort of interesting places. It's like, on my last day there, I must have visited like 8 different museums in the day, each at different train stations, different stops wandering around. And you can do that in Japan. I'd also say, to an extent, something which I hadn't really realized as much before we went there, is that Japan is structured around having more museums. They're slightly smaller, though. So whereas if you're talking about the British equivalent of, let's say, the big engineering museum we ended up in, I think Dan, Glyn, and myself ended up in, the one which had all the space stuff in, as well as the ships and everything. I've forgotten its name now. But
I think
equivalent Mitsubishi Museum, yeah. The equivalent in the UK would have been about 10 times the size, but probably about half as good, and would have been the only in terms of the average quality of the exhibits, because it would have been having more rather than high quality fewer, and it would have been the only museum in the entire town. Whereas this was a case of, it was like each museum was like you have almost a couple of wings of a UK museum in equivalent size, and then you'd wander, and then there'd be another couple of wings in a sort of another museum of about the same size, a few minutes walk away, and so you do a lot of museums in a day, and that's also reflected in the price. But that did also mean that, how to put it, the longer I was there, the more I was with the forward reconnaissance, especially, was scrambling to make sure we had enough to be able to do in a day.
It almost sounds to me like the museums are more specialized.
They are very much more specialized.
Okay.
It's good. But also, on top of that, you have the fact that the museums in Japan really don't seem to feel the need to advertise. They really don't seem to. So you have, sometimes you will have the name of the museum to go on. Sometimes you'll have a bit of a website. Sometimes you have some details. There's a couple of museums which I literally went to on an off chance the night before, when I was finding us extra stuff to do in a day. And I walked into them and went, they have no website. They have nothing. I just noticed a little note on the city map. There was a museum there.
The Kobe Memorial Museum, I'm guessing, was one of those?
Yeah, Kobe Memorial Museum was an exact classic example of it. And you sit there and go, oh, frigate, we need to see this. We really need to see this. And there are like no details anywhere about this place. And the Kobe Memorial Museum was a classic example, because we walked in, went upstairs, and it was a very small museum, but it was crammed with information about the merchant seamen. Because basically what you have with some of the museums is, it's like you'll have the Merchant Sailor Society. They will have an entire floor dedicated to a museum. And it's free access. But
and they're delighted to point you to it the moment you walk in.
They have a full team, about 4 or 5 people working there, helping them out. But they have no advertisement, and you will not find it easily. And it was just, that was a lot of walking. There is a reason I broke a pair of shoes out there.
I'm surprised mine survived.
I tried to follow him around for a couple of days, and I broke a pair of shoes quite quickly.
Yeah.
Tell you one thing.
I broke our marathon runner, Dan, as well, because Dan's the one who runs marathons for sort of fun, and does the 5Ks every day on the treadmill and all those things. And I think, after by the last week, he was literally, I think I'd broken him trying to keep up with him. He did very good. Usually him and Gareth split the task of keeping up with me and doing the recons together.
Oh, for the trips. Sorry, for a second they had me like, did I miss Gareth being up there with us?
No, and basically, and I think I dragged you off on one of the recons, and poor you were whacked as anything, and then you were sort of just following me going, please make it stop.
Where would that have been? I'm trying to think.
We're torturing Fleet here.
No, I think the recons were where.
I'm trying to think when that was. When did you and I go somewhere solo to do reconnaissance? Where was that? Wasn't Kobe? Wasn't...
No,
it wasn't
that was the next one. It was the next one.
That was Hiroshima. No, it wasn't Hiroshima. And Kure.
It was Kure.
No, you and I, no, we were...
Don't remember we wandered off to check the ferry terminal solo?
Oh, yeah, but that was
the day before we used it?
Oh, yes. Sorry, yeah, that's why it's... That's why it's confusing me, because it wasn't... Because every other recon trip that you did... was like, you were going out to do proper full-on recon. That's why it was confusing me. I was like, oh, that's why I missed it.
No, and honestly, the thing is also, I'd say it's partially because it was such a traumatic memory. You're sort of blacking it out a bit.
Yeah, that was only a short walk. It was...
You were, by that point, you were already going, I hate life. But also, Fleet had the fanciest shoes of any of us on the trip.
I had the fanciest fit of any of us.
Everything, at least we tried to wear.
I had a reputation to actually not maintain but build, damn it. And I was going to build it. Also, I am apparently not.
I had a plan, and then collided with Tokyo weather, and my plan stayed in my suitcase the entire trip.
Yeah. Whereas I just went, sod it. I have bought these clothes to wear, and damn, I am gonna bloody well wear them.
I basically got the suit and shirts out when I needed the suit and shirts. Otherwise, I was back in my t-shirts and work trousers.
I am not bringing a pith helmet. It's not happening.
Look, he was in everything short of a pith helmet.
He was.
Seriously.
He really was.
He really...
Tweed jacket, flat cap, the works.
Yeah.
Englishman on holiday.
Yeah.
I do the fit quite well. I'm not even denying it at this point. Like...
No, it wasn't British gent in holiday. It was Victorian British gent on holiday.
Hey,
yeah. We've already made the memes of his outfits. Don't you worry.
If I could have found my pocket watch, I would have brought it. I don't know where it is. I've got like 2 pocket watches, and I don't know where the hell they've gone.
Or were you gonna do your best character impression?
Oh, I should have when I was in Kyoto actually riding behind the damn thing. Oh, I should have done that. Oh, I should have. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? Oh, best character.
Because I've been incommunicado for 6 months, obviously. I need to feed you these ideas.
Like, I found the real thing. I rode behind the real thing. And it is as awe-inspiring as it looks on screen.
Good.
You saw the short, didn't you?
I still have that N-scale C62 I need to get you at some point.
I'm selling off my model trains. Please don't. It'd be a waste of money. Anyway. Oh. I'd forgotten that meme. Oh, the Vickers Armstrong salesman. I'm gonna put that up on the... I'm putting that up on the... Oh... Yeah, that's going up on the live stream. That is absolutely going up on the live stream. That is a funny one, and make no mistake, that is an aggressively funny one.
Yeah, we still, they're just.
We didn't get too many memes out of this trip, though. Although a lot of them seem to involve me.
Yes, you are eminently memeable.
Good. It means the profile goes up. Aha. I am the Vickers 14-inch gun salesman. In case you can't tell, I'm in the middle, Dan's on the left, and Drax on the right. That's good times. Good times were had by all.
And I still can't believe as they both had swords and neither one took off the head.
Oh yeah, this is we had some good.
I am vaguely sad that I was sick that day. I was in Tokyo the day they went to the Samurai Museum, but part of the reason why I wasn't wearing suits the whole trip was I landed and had 2 days of heat stroke. So...
Yeah. It was
that hot.
Yeah.
It was that hot. And please note, we were in Japan during theoretically the beginning of their winter, at least late autumn.
It did not feel like it until we got to Hokkaido.
Hokkaido is beautiful, Hokkaido is my favorite part of Japan.
I liked Kobe the best, honestly, and that's not just because of the hotel. I just loved the whole. You come out like the city's so thin, you come through, and then suddenly, boom, you're on the coastline, and it's gorgeous.
To be fair,
Kobe was
England like
fantastic.
Kobe because of the beef.
Yes. But Kobe, even putting aside the beef, Kobe was probably my favorite part of the trip. The Tokyo came... It's kind of a toss-up between Tokyo and Kobe, and I think Kobe wins just because I wasn't sick in Kobe.
I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed Kobe, I enjoyed Kobe while I was there, and I did enjoy Tokyo while I was there, but, you know, when I was in Tokyo, I was really, sort of pushing myself to get stuff done, and it's only when I'm looking back to memories, I'm going, I had a really good time.
Yes.
And I want to go again. But at the time, I was really enjoying myself, and then I went to walk anywhere after doing the thing I was enjoying, and my feet went, "Hi, we exist. Did you forget about us?"
Yeah.
As soon as I wasn't sick, I started following Alex around, and I started getting 20,000 steps a day. That was disconcerting.
I lost a lot of weight. I think I went down like 2 belt sizes while we were out there, and at least 2 shirt sizes, and I'm still there, and I'm continuing to lose weight.
I will speak to the quality of the Japanese convenience store, the legendary konbini, and say that despite 20,000 step days, I put on weight in Japan.
Oh, God.
And I was pretty much and because of my dietary issues, I was basically eating entirely out of konbini, so baked goods and rice balls from the convenience stores. It was great.
So I'm going to cherry pick a question here because it's not one specifically that we need the entire panel here to answer. Typical Gunnery Officer asks, do you believe the myth that Tokyo is too congested as a city compared to other cities in Europe? No, not at all. Having been there, it would be the most congested city in the world were it not for the sheer amount of public transport in that place, a lot of it running parallel to each other, serving the same places. But there's so much traffic available that even split between running on the same corridor, the Shinkansen, JR 3'6", the KQ line, the Tokyo Metro, another 2 private railway companies I encountered on that same little section, the Tokyo monorail, split between all 6 of those lines, sharing the same sort of route, serving the same sort of areas. There was still enough traffic to have mostly full trains at pretty much any part of the day.
Yes.
Yeah. I have been in Toronto, I have been in London, I have been in New York, I have been in a lot of places I can't even remember right now. Tokyo probably has some of the densest street crowds I've seen, but not the densest. Like I've been in places in the UK that were busier than shopping districts in like the big famous shopping districts like Akihabara. Only approached some of the places I've been in England for crowd density. Like everything there is just organized around the number of people. So they've got the trains, they've got the streets, and they've got a culture as well where that is just that much more polite about moving through crowds than anywhere else I've been.
That is something I will comment on. That is one myth that I think is busted. Japanese politeness, it's there and everything, don't get me wrong, but it's not up to the nth degree that it is if you've never been to Japan and only, get what Japanese culture comes to us in the West. It's not that level of, like, it's polite, it's polite, the culture is different, but it's not the overly level of polite that you sometimes see it portrayed as.
So you were flagged as gaijin from 100 feet away, and the expectations of you were very different. Like, you radiated, I am a tourist, and I don't know your culture. You radiated, I'm an uncultured barbarian. So you didn't get even as much of the experience, I think, as Alex or Dan or I did. Because you just radiated, I can't do your politeness, so don't try.
Yeah, I'm not even going to argue that. That's fair. That's completely fair.
Because that's what that you talked about the outfit and how you were doing the British tourist thing. That was, you were signaling that you were a tourist, and they have a certain degree of tolerance for tourists, and their expectations start dropping dramatically as you start stacking up signals that they're reading as they don't really have reason to expect you to know their culture. And that's part of the politeness thing, is that they kind of try to have an assessment of whether they think you have a clue. And it's not polite to expect someone to live up to the rules of politeness they know you don't know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes common sense to me.
To be fair, Fleet tried.
Yes. No one in our group was intentionally rude, just so I'm very clear.
Yes.
I'll
just clarify that.
I am.
Fleet tried. Fleet just was really. I don't want to be. I'm not being rude about it, but it's just a case of poor Fleet was a case of.
I am a Brit through and through, and I know this.
Yes.
I didn't try to be something I'm not. I tried to be respectful and courteous, but I didn't try to overly ham it because I knew full well how that would come across. So I did the best I could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every third word out of my mouth if I was in Japan was sumimasen. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm very Canadian.
Yeah, sumimasen and arigato gozaimasu, or arigato, were just those were phrases that all of us basically used constantly. Pretty much all of us.
I spoke enough Japanese by the time we went to Rai to use Japanese for various things. My attempts to speak Japanese were universally responded to in English.
Yes.
Yes, that was the case. Yeah, that.
I mainly started using the Japanese phraseology I knew to get an understanding of what the kind of conversation I was dealing with, rather than to actually try and converse.
Yeah. Google Translate was our friend, especially from Tokyo through to Kobe, we were pretty much okay. We didn't really encounter many problems. Well, I didn't encounter many problems with people not speaking English to a decent level. But basically beyond that point, we started to run into difficulties. In particular, when we got down to Kyushu, I think the hotel staff at Sasebo just didn't. We had to break out the phones.
When I was in Kure, the lovely lady running the front desk at my hotel and I both had our phones out and were speaking our language to our phone and having our phone speak it to the other person. It worked quite well.
Yeah. Dearie me. Yeah, we
had fun.
Yeah, it was one of the things we had to deal with. We did have to deal with that. Yeah. But yeah. So
I promised Jack I'm taking them back, so I am continuing to learn Japanese post trip because I'm expecting to go back either in 26 or 27 with my partner.
If I was gonna go back, I think I wouldn't do Tokyo. I'd go to Kobe. There was a lot there that wasn't naval history related that I didn't get to see. I wanted to take that cable car up into the mountains. There's a lot.
No, that's honestly not worth it. There's a little German village at the top.
Oh,
and it was hot enough that frankly we're going to get incinerated because there's no air conditioning in those cable cars.
I liked Kobe, but I could also easily see spending a month in Tokyo and not feeling I'd seen everything I wanted to.
Let me explain that to you, Fleet. It was potentially on our list of things to do because the view was supposed to be spectacular. I did it once and decided I was incinerated enough I would not put anyone else through that. And I went very early in the morning. It would have been something lovely to do, but at a cooler time of year. Because there is no air conditioning. Is there a cooler
time of year there?
There is no air conditioning in those things. There is none.
If it's anything like Hawaii, no, there is not.
I mean,
I hear there's a theoretical cooler time I've been told about. There's a myth, I'm sure. People tell me there is something.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Oh, come on, what was I going to say? I had it in my head a second ago. Oh.
If he's in charge, does that make dead air his responsibility?
We try not to be that cruel.
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh yeah. Do any members of the panel who did not go out to Japan, while we are waiting for either Drakenifel or Dan to join us so I can start cracking through questions and topics that really do need at least 4 of us to be here before I really approach them, have any questions for those who went out to Japan from those who did not?
Yes.
Would you like to ask them?
Why do you need a HR rep?
Fleet and fleeting. But realistically, there does need to at least be the 2 of us who are subject to it most need to be both here to explain this.
Here we go again. This nonsense all over again.
It was a traumatic experience. I'm in the middle of Hiroshima. I am walking around minding my own business. I am just walking from the castle to the museum. We are coming up to a road, to a crossing, etc. There's a lady in front taking a photo. I am stopping. And suddenly, I'm being touched in my place where you don't touch me without permission. Or at least a few dinners.
That's not what happened. I saw someone was taking a picture. I instinctively reached my hand out to the right. It wasn't. It was a little bit higher. It was above the belt, not below it.
It was below the belt.
I know where my hands went.
You obviously don't. It was below the belt. Trust me, it wasn't my tummy which got touched. So yes, that is why we need an HR rep, Foxo.
Oh boy.
Alex does exaggerate for comedic effect. I was about 10 feet back, and I did, but I will say I did see Alex leap. So I don't know where Fleet touched him, but there was a leap backwards.
Oh.
Lee, why are you like this?
What do you mean, why am I like this? I was trying to prevent someone else's photograph being interrupted. It was an accident. These things happen.
They do, but it's funny to harass you about them for a while afterwards.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
At least as far as Alex is concerned.
Yes.
Nice
I
way.
just sort of sit back here and, take notes.
Yeah.
Yes, this happens on a shockingly regular basis. But
To be fair, I would say that
Poking fun
the
at
entire
fleet
group decided
is
that
fun.
fleeting is now a verb to be fleeted. And Runon has now been fleeted, and it didn't
Yes.
involve fleet.
I don't like this.
Congrats.
You do realize we're not
promoted to verb.
stopping.
Motherfucker, I've been dealing with this for the last, 4 weeks since it happened, including 1 week when we're still out in Japan. And I had to deal with this in person, including Drakisms.
I
That was
only there for a
interesting.
couple of days afterwards. I was only responsible for a maximum of 2 emotional support submarine jokes.
A day.
I was only there for a day afterwards.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was...
I also appear to have a strange white cube on my desk, and I'm not wholly sure Why that game? That was something to do with Fleet.
We decided, Drac decided the cubes were the best way for us to avoid being inappropriately fleeted if we had cube defense. Because
the cubes
Fleet
were
is
earlier
afraid
than
of
that.
the cube.
The cubes were earlier than that. No, I'm not
Cubes
afraid.
were like right at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of the cubes. I am abhorrently repulsed by them because they remind me of something so disgusting. I don't want to think about it.
You think cubes are like the Hosh? I'm sorry, cubes are cuter than the Hosh.
You did not.
So you're afraid
You
of
did not just compare Hosh to that thing.
That's a very favorable comparison for the Hosh.
It is. From what I understand, the Hosh was basically a submarine that didn't know how to fully sink.
No.
It would have been a benefit to the human aesthetic heritage if that was true.
No.
No, because then it might have survived on the ocean floor. Because who would want to go and pick up that thing?
Me, I would.
Oh, yeah, true. Who in their right mind, then?
Me.
To be fair, I have seen like one picture and 2 paragraphs of description of Hosh. I am not an expert on anything.
But yeah.
I just still love how the science fiction author knows and fears the Hosh just as much as the historians of varying degrees in the
You
chat.
don't all over blow it. There she is. Look at that. She's not that bad.
I just
That does look like a submarine about to go underwater, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What? No, it doesn't. Lovely looking ship.
It looks like it looks like someone decided to put too many greeblings on it.
That is a perfectly acceptable amount of greeblings. That is a good level of greeblings. I still have the bolt making machine.
that ship is more greeblings than ship.
Damn it, Maytel.
Or throw at the time castle. That'll work as well. Good times.
Dragon, please being strange again.
Oh, that's right. You two aren't in on the jokes. You don't understand. This
I am in
have-
the
have
3-9
we done
jokes.
Have we done a 3-9 watch party
No,
lately?
not
I don't
since
think we have.
not since I bought the films. No, yeah, I need to. I promise.
Oh,
you
you
Wait,
bought
no,
the
no,
film?
no, you've literally shown it at gunpoint to me and Dragon.
What? When?
Yes, you literally hard pinged me, forced me into a role, and then dragged me into it.
What? No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
What?
I was there.
When?
I was
Uh,
there when you committed crimes against humanity, please.
I
5
did
or
not
6 months
commit.
ago.
6 months ago. I'll have to.
But
I'll have to rack the old brain for that one.
He commits so many crimes.
Oh, for goodness sake. Well, at least we're definitely keeping the things bubbly while we wait for our colleagues. If nothing else.
You mean
What
the
is the
defendants?
purpose of this show? Not to bully Fleet?
Oh well, excuse me. The prosecution's witnesses.
No, the purpose
You're
of
the
this show is not to bully Fleet. I didn't found it for that purpose. I founded it as a nice little place for me to chat and take questions and answer them. Although it's kind of grown a little bit beyond the scope of that now that I think about it.
Yeah, it has got more and more to do with basically us explaining when the fleet's got something wrong.
Which is kind of the
So
point.
us explaining how the world works to Fleet.
To be fair, there are 2 modes to ramblings. If it's a smaller show, I'm usually doing a bit of background reading and trying my best to not put my foot in my mouth. But
You can do that.
yes, but if I've got a decently sized panel of people who I know are decently knowledgeable about a fair amount of things, I will probably just stick my foot in, and if I get it wrong, I know that there are people who know more about the subject who can correct me, and therefore, through correcting me, teach the audience.
The problem is you get it so violently wrong sometimes, many times.
Thousands, not hundreds. But anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, the Well, yes, that's not really exactly what's going on. It's a long story. You'd have to watch the film to understand it. You're right, Petch. She is fucking nuanced.
Who are you claiming is nuanced?
It's a long story.
I like to think that I
he's
understand.
talking about Worst Girl. Okay.
What? Worst Girl? That's not true.
Yeah.
Problematic character.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That works. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh,
tried
so
to-
different from my proposal of general annoyance.
That
tried playing Azure Blade.
honestly, that works as well. Foxo, I'm not even going to disagree. That works shockingly well.
I tried playing Azure Lane recently.
Oh,
There doesn't
You never
appear to
told me
be
how that
any-
went.
There's no English voiceover, and I refuse to play a game where I can't understand shit.
It literally has text for everything. Are you telling
Yes,
me, Runon,
and-
you cannot read?
okay.
No,
Look,
I can read.
She's an incredibly good electrician, and she can read design documents and blueprints. The English language that was never required.
I thought
He's not.
that in America, all you need to be an electrician is to be able to survive the wet finger trick.
No,
Yep,
no.
electricity.
Foxo, that's a modern thing. Remember when she started training as an electrician, there wasn't a system
Excuse
of
me,
writing.
I'll be back in a second.
To be fair though,
Someone's
Runon,
annoying
I
me.
do understand.
Don't
No.
explode
No.
the chat
I
while
would
I'm
much
gone.
prefer there to
I
be English
forgot.
voiceovers, but unfortunately, that costs a lot of money.
Right, I forgot she predates the Electron, right? It was literally there when the laws were written.
Yeah. To be fair,
Universe must have been a strange place back then.
To be fair, it's thanks to her we have all the lovely electrical diagrams as cave drawings.
I swear, if I had a time machine, I'd do that just to screw with people.
It makes me wonder how many ships are in AL at this point.
Okay, no. If you had a time machine, you'd go back to a random cave in Northern Europe. I'd go back with my copy of fucking
There's
the Fall of
apparently-
Eberor. The one that has the Fall of Eberor in a cumbrous name. And just write quotes from that on the wall.
There's 650 regular ships with 42 research ships. So yeah, there's almost 700 ships, Runon, they would have to English voice act. That's a lot of money. As much as I would love
Depends
it.
on how many points you individually have.
Although I seem to recall most of a lot of the ships share voice actors.
Even then,
Well,
that's still
that's the same
a
in
good
most
chunk of money.
animes, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And they
No,
already
I
have
need
the
to
voice
go.
actor.
And,
because
and
it has-
the other option is you can just hire what's his name? The King of the Mexicans. Really good comic who could do like a bazillion voices.
Oh, I am not pulling the name.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
having
know.
one voice actor doesn't really save you that much money. Your cost is
I'm
per
literally-
line, not per person.
Yes, but the thing
Well,
is,
cost is time, and a lot of that is setup and teardown time. It's much easier to, like, once you're set up for that sort of thing, you can just keep going. It's when you have to set up and do audio levels and do your EQ tuning and do your reverb tuning for each new person that comes in. That's what eats in your time.
it's Gabriel Iglesias, the Floppy.
Okay.
That was the guy I was thinking
Oh,
of. He's really good at voice acting. He can do so many different voices.
I did not remember in any capacity that they called Fluffy the King of the Mexicans.
You didn't realize they called
I
him
can
King of
see
the
it.
Mexicans.
No, I got very concerned when you said that.
Yeah, it's quite disturbing. Sometimes I do actually have, how do I put this? Put this politely, current knowledge. Most people find it worrying when I do.
You have more current knowledge than I do. I pay attention to the future and the past. I really try not to pay attention to right now.
Yeah, that's a mood, Glenn.
Yeah, that's fair.
What?
Mm,
I still
I
need
agree.
to abduct. I still need to abduct Doc and Leslie into my. So how do these orbs work again?
Hmm?
World building brain trust. I might
Oh,
regret that decision, but hey, you know what's the worst that could happen?
it'll be fine.
Glenn's gotten away with it, so
What have I gotten away with? I don't generally get away with much.
using Alex for context and world building shenaniganry.
The thing to realize is Alex only answers about a third of the questions I throw him, so...
I have got a huge response to send you. It's just every time I sit down to put it up and send it through to you, I have got more stuff happening with the house. I would like to point out I'm usually fairly reliable when I'm not descended on by the house. It's just the house has made me unreliable as hell over the last 2 years.
I know. It's literally, just so you know, on the thing that I asked you for a response on, it's pretty much too late. I am right halfway through that the battle sequence I needed those ships for. So, I made them work.
Hello,
The book I thought the book was due today. My copy editor emailed me when I was posting about it on Blue Sky last week. It said, so, I have Friday as the due date. Are our calendars mismatched? And I had updated my calendar by accident. So I have 4 extra days, which is why I can be here today.
Yay.
That is good.
Happy noises.
Happy fleet noises.
Yeah.
Happy Shipshape
Always fun to
noises, because
discover
we like having our Canadian pal here. Our first abductee.
I'm sure.
I don't know
Glenn's
if it
been
counts
on
as
the panel
abducting if
before.
my wife is shoving me into the car as you guys drive by.
Hey, just because we were hired by your wife to abduct you doesn't necessarily make it less of an abduction.
If I make it down to the Falklands, does that still get me classified as a abductee?
Not an abductee per se, but, you know, we can work with these things.
If you happen to be in the UK at the time, and you are not planning on going to the Falklands, but they show up and sit at your door in a car on their way to the plane and say, hey, would you like to go to the Falklands? And you say, yeah, sure. Then you count as an abductee.
Yes.
A willing one, but still an abductee.
That's how that works, Jim.
Yeah, because they asked me if I wanted to go to Buffalo, I think, like 2 days in advance, and I waffled for a day before Jack told me I was going to Buffalo. And so it's not like I didn't know I was being abducted.
To be fair, Jack waited 2 days to tell you were going to Buffalo. She told us straight away you were going.
Much the same with the Japan trip. I was told I was going to Japan.
Yeah.
And I am paying for going to Japan workload-wise right now.
We have fun. Oh, hang on, I have a ping. Oh, no, wait, that's not in my server. That's in the dry dock.
Blake, what have you done?
Oh, it was just a reply to something I'd said. Never mind.
Blake, what have you done?
Okay, I was about to go look and see what was going on.
It was literally just me saying. It was literally just me saying that the island of Sarashima, you know, the one that the ferry next to Mikasa is that we went to, a lot of it is closed compared to what they say. It's open. That's all I was saying.
That was funny.
That's all I was saying.
That was really annoying for me because we allocated a whole day basically to those different ferry trips, and the morning was supposed to be the island because it was supposed to have so much And then we went it. We walked around it. We got there.
It was
on the
boiling
website,
hot.
The things were open. On the leaflet they handed us when we got on the island, it said they're open. We walked to the frigating things, and they're closed. And they've been closed for years.
Yeah, because you don't get that level
of
vegetation growth.
There was a sign saying closed, and stuff had grown up and all around the sign.
Yes. And it was just a case of... It's one of those things of... If you're organising it and you're putting it together, it's so frustrating because all the things tell me it's there and running for you, and I'm taking you all there, and it's going to be fun, it's going to be interesting, and I'm telling you all about it. And we get there, it's closed. And I basically look a bit like a pillock because I promised you all this stuff, and it's not happening because...
reasons that happened.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that happened a few times, but it was no fault of your own. I mean,
no, it was just...
we had the NKY Museum, we had the Yamato Museum, the Coast Guard Museum, and we were supposed to get the guided tour rather than just getting in normally.
If you were just walking around Cure, there were signs telling you about various things about the Yamato Museum that were not true.
Yeah.
Because there were a bunch of big signs when you approached the currently closed museum saying that you could still get around and see the model of Yamato, and you couldn't. It was fenced off for something and probably looked like it was in the middle of a shorter term work, but you still couldn't follow the signage that was there to go see the model of Yamato.
No.
Yep.
It was just... It was annoying. It was really annoying. We did our best. We did our best to see all the things we could see. And we got some places where we really weren't. I still to this day think we weren't actually technically supposed to probably be going.
Well, those are the most fun places.
Yeah, we had one advantage, which occasionally both me and Drac used shamelessly, which is we don't read the signs, and we don't know we don't know what's supposed to know.
Yep.
Weaponized ignorance.
Yes. Me and Drac have perfected that over the years. We are very good at using weaponized ignorance.
I've used that a couple times to get into rail yards.
Bad Matt, no, leave the GG1 where it is. You don't need it. Leave it. You don't need it. Leave the GG1 where it is.
No, this was a CSX yard. I might have gotten away with an SD40-2 that they had on yard shunting duty.
Yes, to go and steal the GG1. You think I don't know you?
This is cruel, baseless accusations you're making against your friend here.
I've known this man for nearly 8 years. I know what he's like.
Unlike the very basic.
Give me the Penzi Electrics. Give me the Penzi Electrics.
Leave it. Oh, I've still got the. I've still got the meme up. Oh no!
Swinging from this topic back to the cantrip. I will say that one piece of advice I was given before heading there was true, and I kind of regretted not following it, which was bring more luggage than you need for the stuff because you will fill it coming back. I ended up not buying the because I didn't have enough space. I didn't buy the one model of the Mikasa that I saw when we were in the one I ended up buying. I saw when we were in Cure, and I waffled over it. And I think it would have been about half the price I ended up paying importing it to Canada if I just bought it there and stuffed it in a suitcase, which I didn't have the space to do.
The trouble is, by the time home. When I wandered even to the Mikasa Museum, I couldn't find that model. It wasn't everywhere.
The Mikasa Museum.
I know it was in Kure, but I tried to look through everywhere in Tokyo for it.
I thought there was a place where I'm pretty sure I could have found it, but the Akihabara anime figure store is open till 9, so I assumed that the Akihabara General Model Store was open till 9, but it closed at 8. So I missed it.
At night, on YouTube, where the bot is taking questions, you are allowed to ask regular Ramblings questions, because those will be stored by the bot for use on Friday. But in Discord, we're not allowing people to ask normal questions, because it will make Friday confusing, whereas on Friday, if I just have normal questions, everything will work much smoother that way. Oh,
the thing I found, I have to say, one of the things I found most interesting about the trip was when you're reading it, Japan has a lot of rules about where you're supposed to eat.
Yes,
and
I was about to bring this up.
Then you find a restaurant where you're supposed to not eat. Like, the amount of... this was the thing, it was sort of... It's kind of a case of, we have exceptions to the rule. It's sort of a case of, it's the amount of... the restaurants on stations were usually quite good, actually.
Yeah, there was definitely
a lot of Shipshape crew ended up eating on the stations. I have to admit that did happen quite a lot. Drinks modern food.
Yeah, eating and drinking in public did not seem to carry the same stigma it was supposed to. At all.
There was some there, but it was not by any stretch of imagination the level we've been worrying it was going to be about, if that makes sense. And that was mainly the reason we realized that was because there's a sort of level of practicality with the Japanese.
Yeah.
Which you find out very quickly, especially when it was a case of when it's boiling hot. Yeah, some of these rules are going to go out the window. Don't worry about it.
Everyone was stopping at the vending machines and grabbing drinks because that's how you survive.
Yeah. It was a case of there is a pragmatism here to survival first, survival with decorum first, perfect manners second.
Yes.
And that's how basically we survived. We copied the locals. We basically looked at the locals and went, that's what they're doing, okay, so we should be okay doing that.
Yeah. No, we didn't visit any of the planned amphibious assault sites, Gunnery Officer. They were way too far out of our way.
The closest probably to some of them was probably me on some of my travels, doing scouting late at night, etc. Because the thing about the Japanese trains is they do run quite late and quite early, and so I could do sometimes scouting before you guys were even up, which was fun. It was. There are some interesting sites, but there's really not anything there. So it would have been, for all of you, it would have been a long trip out to see it, and then it would be a case of, right then, now we have to turn around and go back. Because all there is turn up, take a photo of it, and then go back. There's nothing really there.
Yeah. It's different doing that when we went to see where bits of Warspite are left in Cornwall, because, it was like a few hours drive to get there. And we were all, at the end of the day, and it was fine. It's entirely different to do that in a foreign country when we've got a lot of stuff to do. To go and see a random beach. Which may or...
half an hour's drive, not a few hours. Whereas the other one was about an hour on the train one way, an hour on the train back. And it's not a drive. It's not you depend on the car. Hokkaido is definitely something to do by car. The trains haven't got there yet. Not in enough detail and not enough depth. Once they complete the Shinkansen up to Sapporo, maybe
the 3'6" is the 3 foot from what I was when I was in Sasebo Station before Drac rushed me onto a train.
Yeah, he wasn't letting you have any time watching the trains, was he?
No, I wanted to watch trains and I wanted to get a picture of the mural, but no, our colleague was most insistent.
And you got on the train and you rushed away from the station, which had all the food and everything, and
I know.
then you were waiting in the platform.
Oh no, I know. And there's me. I'm trying to say, Drac, do you mind? We're waiting for Alex, and I was like, and bear in mind, like my ability to resist was somewhat curtailed by the fact I had my laptop bag, I had Alex's bag. I had Dan's rucksack. I had all of the. I was like way down. I looked like a. I looked like a drunk ATST waddling my way to the train.
He was doing double duty as our Sherpa.
I didn't know you were supposed to be asleep as a pack mule.
Yeah. It was on the options.
But yeah, so yeah, from what I could see, the 3'6" network in Sasebo is pretty robust. But yeah, the Shinkansen needs to break all the way through to Sapporo. Okay. Chandler has one specifically for Alex, so he can answer that while waiting for Dan and Drag.
Okay.
Chandler, Alex, what did you learn about Japan/Yonai that surprised you the most?
I was quite surprised at just it's going to sound strange wandering around looking at the various spaces attributed to him and the various places where he had been laid to rest. There was a lot of still a lot of reverence around him, and it's kind of different. You sort of think of a former political leader, someone who hasn't done any sort of something great battle or something like that. You expect shrines almost to Togo Hayachiro, but when you're seeing the spaces which are dedicated to Mitsumasa Yonai, and the fact that they are so apt for Yonai in terms of his personality and the way he approached the world, it was quite sort of surprising in a good way. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does. Okay.
Potato.
Yes, potato is indeed something that exists. So we do the one about the planet amphibious assault. I'm basically looking through the questions that can keep us talking while I wait for my colleague so I can start asking the questions I want to ask. Did any of us try speaking Japanese to the natives? Because Gunner Officer is asking that. Did any of us try to speak, full sentences?
The closest was Glyn.
I'd been learning Japanese for about 6 months, which was nowhere near enough. So I, had a bit more than key phrases, not a lot. And like I think I said earlier, the general response of me trying to speak Japanese was people spoke back to me in English. Or tried to confirm. The funny one was when I would say something relatively simple like yes or no or thank you or whatever in Japanese, and they felt the need to confirm by repeating it back to me in English that I had meant what I'd said. Apparently my Japanese was that bad.
At least you tried.
Very helpful.
Typical Officer, did you interact with any US military personnel in Japan? What did you talk about? Yes, we did. Yokosuka in particular. We didn't get as swamped as we thought we were going to do. We had received reports that a large chunk of the US enlisted personnel were keen to meet Drac. We didn't get quite that swamped.
And they were doing a lot of work on the ships. There was a lot of maintenance going on the ships in harbour, and a lot of them. This is what came through. Was a lot were having trouble getting time to come out and see us, and even some of the people who came out to see us were sort of. They left colleagues behind who'd wanted to come but couldn't because they were still busy doing stuff, or they were coming out. They'd been allowed out, but it was only for a short amount of time, and then they had to get back. And yeah, it was an interesting time.
Yeah, we met some very nice people.
We did.
Yeah.
Really, they were just mostly we met whether they were, people from the US Navy or Japanese people. We're all just genuinely nice people.
I think one of the nicest people was in Sasebo, the one man, or rather one woman bar team, who literally was taking our orders, serving our drinks, cooking our food, everything. And it was just a case of, seriously, they think in the UK you feel like there would have been like 4 or 5 members of staff to be doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
I've come across very few similar one person shows like that in the UK, where it's quite that massive and quite that larger range was on offer as well. Because that was the thing, there was quite a large range of options available.
So we hated a couple places that were one-person shows, but they were usually, here are the 3 options you have to choose from for food.
Yes, whereas in this case, it was a one-person show, but it was, how many options do you want? What do you mean, how many options I want? There's a choice. And it was quite a lot of choices, and it was a case of, oh, this is different than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice. It was very good food. I enjoyed that place. I think Fleet at one point said that was the best burger he'd had while he was out there, but then the next night he was on the pizzas, if I remember correctly.
Wait. Oh, no, I had I think I had that was it, yeah. Lovely place, lovely place.
It was really nice.
It was a absolutely gorgeous place. It was lovely. Although, I had hoped to save this till later, but I guess we're talking about it now. So, no point stopping the train while the iron is hot. My favourite place that we went was actually the last meal that we had with Glyn.
Oh, yeah.
And I really liked that. I really, really liked that. That was...
When was that?
That was the barbecue.
The hot plate in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. The one in Kure. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, the first meal we had in Yokusaka, which I think might have just been Alex, Dan, and I, was a similar place of much higher tier of quality, frankly, in both. But both were good. But the one we were at in Yokusaka was better.
Yeah.
Mostly given my biases, the fact that they didn't serve the food on a bed of onions.
I thought I would enjoy but those Moss burgers, get off my name, you're not worthy of it. They were not very good.
Oh no, Moss burgers. I've
heard nothing good about them. There's a reason I didn't try them.
Moss burgers are billed as the Japanese equivalent to McDonald's, but honestly, there is a reason why McDonald's doesn't consider them a contest.
I literally only ate them because I needed something in me now, and it wasn't completely terrible.
That was, for me, the Konbini baked goods right the first time, but honestly, the Danishes and donuts and stuff available in the 7-Elevens were actually really good.
Yeah, they did have really good options in those places.
Yep. Indeed they did.
Mm.
I was going to say, come on, Fleet, engage brain.
That's your first mistake.
I am refusing to engage my brain until about 1:45, at which point I actually have to get started on my, job. You have about another 70 minutes.
Gasp.
Okay. I'm still waiting on at least one of our colleagues because
I know. I'm just giving you the heads up.
Yes. I'm going to ping both of our colleagues and say, does anyone have an ETA?
Having performance issues, Fleet?
No, of course not.
Isn't it 1 in 3 men suffer from that? It's perfectly understandable.
This is my life now, and I don't get paid enough. The channel is not big enough. I don't get paid enough.
You get paid?
You made the first mistake in starting a panel-based show.
It used to be fine. Why is it now that
when did it used to be fine? It's always
when it
been
was
like
in the
this.
dry dock? I've somehow had more bloody control there than I do now.
Because you invited Alex.
Yeah.
Hey,
Alex does not suffer
no.
control.
Yeah, he is the problem. We have to admit, he's it's true.
Yeah. I have trouble.
Also, I'm with you. We were never that on topic in the dry dock anyway.
No,
There's a
but we at
reason
least
the random is in the random ramblings.
no, but we at least did okay.
No, we didn't.
In the early days, we did.
Okay.
It was
Like-
for ramblings 1, Fleet.
Rambling's one that wasn't even a bloody roll. I had to send out my attack dog to go and get people.
You had an attack dog?
Yes, his name was Meta.
Who gave you that much power?
Oh yeah.
I was literally one of the original admin team on Drax's server. You forget.
I don't forget.
I built that
I'm
thing.
shocked. I'm
I
shocked
just
every
don't
time you
believe
tell
you're
me.
old enough for that to be true.
That explains so much.
Oh, good lord! You have no idea the amount of young person jokes he got while on the trip. I still can't put in the nicest way. And please note, everyone, before we finish something, I wasn't the worst person about the young person jokes. Neither was Dan or Glyn. There was one person who made points about babysitting.
That wasn't me, I don't think.
Okay.
No, I said it wasn't you, it wasn't me, and it wasn't Glyn. Or Dan.
Bloody Drac, honestly, sometimes. That man, honestly.
We kept worrying you were going to get yourself hurt.
Typical gunner officer, did you really miss out on the Yamato Museum since it's currently closed? Did you see the Kai-10, Long Lance Torpedo, and other World War II relics in Kure? We did see the various relics because those were in Etajima, I think.
Yes, in Etajima.
So yes, we did see them. Like they were.
We got into Etajima and we got as much access as I could get us in Etajima.
Yes, and honestly, it was good. It was very, very good. I got to see a pair of 16-inch guns in a turret on a mount. We confirmed those guns in that turret on a mount can't be from Mutsu when she was salvaged. They have to be from when she was rebuilt, because that's the old turrets, which makes them even more rare.
Yeah, and even more special.
And this sadly was after I left, but that was an inevitable consequence.
Although we
actually
were
have to work.
we were disappointed that we didn't get to go and what's the word? We didn't get to go and actually go up close to the 6-inch gun and the 16-inch guns like we wanted to. We saw them from a distance.
It would certainly have been nice to have been able to go and see them closer, but, you know...
We did okay.
Yeah, we did. You know, for the options we had available, they were good. And we've got invitations to go back there in the future, should we wish, and we'll get a different tour should we go back there in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to sort of think about.
Like, this is the thing. A lot of
we made a lot of friends on this trip, and it's one of those things of it's the joke we always make. It's after we come, it's the first tour is us making friends. The second tour is us probably taking, they're probably using those friendships to try and, well, don't use the phrase using, but building on those friendships for even better access to things because they trust us by that point. And we had a lot of trust in putting us for this trip, and I think we delivered on it all. I don't think we disappointed anyone.
No, we had a lot that we had to get through, and that's just the truth of the matter. But yeah, we had a lot that we had to get through, and we did credibly well. So much so that there were time for those of us who wanted to go and see other things to go and see other things.
Yeah. And that was a really good thing, realistically. That was quite useful to be able to enable us to go and get to see other stuff and do the other things when we want to do. You had a lot of fun with the train museums.
I did. I was a bit disappointed by the railway museum in top side of Tokyo. It was one of the stops on the way to Hokkaido. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed there. It wasn't so good, but Kyoto Railway Museum was very, very nice. Really enjoyed that. That was, like, for being not the National Railway Museum, which was the Railway Museum, it was much better than the National Railway Museum. Just in basically every way.
I'd heard that before you went, but didn't want to colour your judgment on it before you got there, just in case. That was just for the people talking.
Yeah,
but I had heard.
Oh,
and there are quite a few
do hope you
which
took.
I'd have liked to have gone to, but I didn't have the chance to go to them as many as you probably managed to. Because I was doing.
I hope you took photos and videos from the Railway Museum.
I did.
I will require to see those at some point.
I did indeed. I took plenty of photos and videos while I was out there. And now I have been saving them. And now the Ramblings audience on Discord, and then obviously if people want to see things on the stream, I will do that as well. But yeah, while I was out there, I did take a lot of pictures, and also I took pictures of places the other guys just didn't end up going. So a lot of this stuff will probably be. I'm specifically going to post and show images of places I went that the others didn't go. So, for example, the first place I went was actually, I went to so one thing I found is when I was in Japan, it seems like the private railway companies each have their own museum of their history. And one of them was very good, and one of them was absolutely not very good. So we had the museum of, I forget which company this was. Yeah, the Kinu line, I think. They had a very nice museum.
Holy photo dump, Batman.
Yes, you're welcome. Well, welcome to the land of fleet photo dumps. It is beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically, these three are something very, very, very interesting. So, the bottom three images, and I'm going to be putting them up. I'm going to be picking the best of them that shows the whole setup, and I will be putting it up on the live. So the bottom three images where you've got like the bogey and the pantograph, if a lot of you could bring those up.
Yep.
I'm putting that up
also,
on the live stream now. Yes?
Fleet, can you back me up on one thing? Because I keep talking about the car we hired in Hokkaido.
Uh-huh.
And the back seat was quite comfortable, wasn't it?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, because people find, because a couple of messaged me gone, no, there's no Nissan that's ever been produced that's got a comfortable back seat for two fully grown men. And I went there and go, no, that was actually that was comfortable.
Me and Drac plus my bag plus him on the first day, we were fine.
Yeah, and it's just I'm still annoyed by the fact that the Nissan don't produce that car anymore.
Oh god, yeah, I'm like, come on, better than the.
There is a picture of it in the Discord chat. Earlier.
Yeah, that car was so freaking uncomfortable and nice to drive, and then they go and say we've got the Duke, and you just go no.
The Duke came before it and after it, which is weird. But anyway, yeah. Were these posted to Train Spotting? I think some of them were, not all of them. But yeah, so the thing with that setup is that what they have done is they have taken a pantograph and an electric powered bogey, strung a live electrical wire over it, and made it so you can raise the pantograph and using the controls actually drive the bogey. Which is honestly really, really cool.
It is cool.
And we don't have anything like that in the UK, and that was just amazing, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, they didn't speak much English, but I was like telling the guides that, you know, we don't have this in the UK, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And now for some memes. Straight from the
If anyone's feeling at all sorry for some of the guides, don't worry, we did as well.
Yes, we all did. Yeah, they I'm not gonna lie, not through lack of trying, they really did. They really did try.
The guides were really trying to communicate and include us, and there was places like Ethajima where basically we ended up with a chief petty officer shadowing us to basically try and look after us and make sure we were having a good time. We were having a good time because they were sort of going, yeah, they're interested, but we don't really cater to the English-speaking crowd.
Yes.
I want to go to Japan someday, but I also want to have learned the language enough beforehand.
It's not a bad idea. But yes, I found... So then I went to the Railway Museum, and I found some of the stuff they have, which was... It was okay. Like, it was fine. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't bad. I mean, I was annoyed that a lot of the interactive experiences were locked behind a raffle that you had to pay to play on their website.
What?
With a chance of getting what you wanted, and a chance you wouldn't.
Excuse me, what the fuck?
Yeah, so
they had a gacha system.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, nah, I ain't doing that.
It's something you learn in Japan. There's a lot of gacha systems.
It's the only museum I found that had it out of any I went to, including all of the other railway museums.
I kid you not, some of the museum restaurants we went to, and some of the ones which I went to on reconnaissance too, the restaurants were gacha.
Some of them were, yeah.
I'm just noticing something here on the C-57.
Yes.
They've got the little windscreen wipers that I associate more so with like the snow plows. Were they?
It was a thing. It was a thing some later Japanese steam engines had. Also, of course, built by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, because of course it is. Because why wouldn't it be?
Noticed, yep.
Because
Mitsubishi Heavy
killed everything.
Oh god, no, no. You have to understand. It became a constant
omnipresent.
Thing,
yeah,
subsidiary of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries.
It never ended.
Everything was a subsidiary of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries.
Yeah, it was just that's the way it was.
Yeah.
Also,
but
they had
I'm looking though, and I have seen that exact windscreen wiper, that circle one, that circle style one, on the rotary snowplows here in the States.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who watch on YouTube aren't very interested in railways, but if any of you do want to see, please put it down in chat, and I will put it up. Obviously, if no one asks to see it, and obviously it doesn't get put up, then that's fine. But if any of you do want to see it, and you know we don't get it up on the stream tonight, then obviously join the Discord. We are friendly. All of the images will be in the Discord. That is
mostly.
No, they're all well. They will all get here in the end. They had a nice big model railway, but again, this is where we ran into two things. First of all, you know me, I like a good model, but I like just to stand and watch it running and make my own observations. Instead, it was like this big theater show thing, and it was all in Japanese, so I couldn't understand a damn thing they were saying. So I was like,
that's another reason you like the Kobe Museum, because you could drive the actual trains and the planes.
Yes, the Kobe Maritime Museum, that was very, very good. I really I would even go so far as to say that was pretty much one of the best out of any of the museums we went to. Like, in terms of actual interactivity and enjoyment. Like, look, Mikasa is brilliant and, once in a lifetime to actually see, feel, touch, walk aboard that ship.
Yeah. But you do also feel like she's been damaged by her treatment in the past.
You do feel that, yeah. So Dan is like the first thing that obviously, I mean, it was posted in the Discord. Obviously, some of you will remember when I found the thing. I was like, I found the thing, and I was very happy. and I was very happy. And I was like, those of you who know me know why I'm happy to have found the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I walked through and went, I found the thing in Steam. And like, there she was.
Oh, I didn't see these.
Oh yeah, I found it in Steam and actually rode behind it. Yeah. Ain't she pretty?
Well then. Oh yeah.
That's a bucket list tick off there, right there. Like, that was just peak. Like, that made my day. That really did.
I have to say, I was looking for that in Engage, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was looking all over, and I'm shifting over to Kato Track for my Engage Railway because I like the Kato Track stamp system. It really makes life very nice and easy. And yeah,
yes. I have used basically every SnapTrack system out there. Unitrack is the best. There's a reason that's all we stock. That's the reason that's everything I recommend whenever new people come up and ask, hey, I'm just getting into model trains. What should I go with? Kato. Get a Kato.
I've always been a Pico. All my rails have been Pico, and I've just got so fed up with the latest versions of Pico Track. It's just annoying to the life out of me.
They've gone off the deep end in something way.
It just breaks so easily, and it's just, you cannot do interesting layouts of it because it just goes, I'm not going to work now.
Yeah. Well, and that's the last of the railway images.
Ooh, where?
The problem is,
where was this?
Night.
The roundhouse.
That's the Kyoto Rail Museum. Same place. And from what I understand, all of those locomotives are steamable. It's why they're in the roundhouse.
I guess I'm gonna have to go to Kyoto at some point.
And that's not even all of them. But yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So yeah, Knight, you're talking about putting Mikasa in a dry dock that allows her to sit in water, but allows her to be moved if she needed dry docking. That was something the Japanese government was basically never gonna get. They agreed to have her as a significant ship, but the condition was, in no way could she ever be allowed to move again. Permanent, final. When we're talking about damage to her... Oh, hello, Dan. Nice to see you.
Hey. Nice to see you. What are you currently being wrong about?
When we're... If you let me finish, then you might be able to find out. When we refer to damage to Mikasa... It's not being in her being in concrete that's the real travesty, if we're honest. The real travesty is what happened to her after World War II. That's what we mean when we're talking about damage.
I'd say the people who decided to install an aquarium inside are probably some of the people I would like to track down first.
Yeah.
There was an aquarium in her?
There was. They got rid of it.
She was
basically... Someone had the bright idea that the thing you can do to attract more people to this wonderful museum ship is build an aquarium in it, because everyone likes aquariums.
I can sort of see the logic, I guess.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good aquarium. I kind of went mad going through that aquarium that the lads didn't go through, that I enjoyed going through.
We basically decided you needed some time alone in the aquarium.
You were
worked up over it, and we didn't feel like getting between you and it. We felt that might be interfering in your special moment.
I saw Two Tails. I saw Two Tails. I was happy. I had never seen Two Tails before, so I was very, very happy.
I has been swimming with turtles before.
Oh my god, make me jealous.
In the Caribbean.
So jealous. So jealous.
I'm remembering back. I think it was on my honeymoon. So that was a long time ago.
Right, so now that we have the 4 people, we're unfortunately missing our other colleague, but hopefully he will join us before we end. I hope. But with everything getting started, let's get right into it. So, first things first, I'm going to work through my sort of footnotes of questions I've got in my head, and then we're going to go from there. So,
okay.
Out of the Japan trip, what did, and this is the first general question, so that's sort of to feed in. What experience did you enjoy most? That can be a restaurant, that can be a journey, that can be a hotel, that can be being in a city generally. What experience did you enjoy the most?
Kobe beef.
Okay.
Kobe beef.
Yeah, just Kobe beef. Wandering the Kobe shopping area, honestly, during the day when everything was open and just at night.
I will admit, for me, the best experience of the trip was I pulled out my chair on the balcony at the Kobe Hotel. It was night. I was watching the sun go down. And I poured myself a drink on the balcony. I just sat and I watched the sunset over Kobe. And it felt very special. Don't know why. Because that was like the midpoint of the trip.
Kobe was a special place. And also, I have to say, after the beef, one of the most magical experiences for me was walking through the Kobe night events. The music and the light show they had going on at night.
Yes.
And that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
And of course, I had the most expensive night in Kobe. And that wasn't even me going for the most expensive beef either. I might have had a bit too much to drink, but that was fine.
Yes.
I was having a good natter, it was fine.
Yeah. He was trying to keep up with Drac in drinking.
I was keeping up with Drac in drinking. I did not. I didn't fall asleep. I didn't slur my words. I was perfectly eloquent for the entire conversation. Didn't even have a hangover the next day. No, I didn't run out of money per se. I wasn't really thinking about money.
Probably wasn't thinking about much.
I was actually, funnily enough.
You appear to have a Drac.
Do we?
Really, I have a hard time believing that you weren't slurring. Given.
Well, I'll ask him. I wasn't. Hello, he was here for a second. There we go. Now we have the entire. Hang on, what's 5 of something? Because quartet's 4.
Quintet.
That's the one. Now we have the entire quintet. Excellent.
Or pentat if you're a Royal Navy torpedo launcher.
Hello, now we have the entire ensemble. Marvelous. Whoops, that's the wrong way around. There we go.
I'm worried about you claiming us using any musical descriptions for us because that might imply you should start singing.
I'm not going to start singing.
You can't pay me enough. For me to sing, at least.
I may have written a little ditty in the dry dock about a certain planet.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
The lion sleeps tonight.
I like how I was the one you were all worried about, and then everyone else starts singing, and I just sit there going, "What was the point?"
Yes. Anyway, hello.
Hello.
Hey.
So
it was good fun.
So, with everybody here, let's. Well, I know there are a few questions that are pretty much what I wanted to ask anyway. So let's get into it. So just generally for the panel, what was your favorite non-naval related visit in Japan?
What mine was.
Night Tower was quite nice. Either that or the Samurai Museum.
That was very fun.
Samurai Museum was fun. I have no idea if any of it was in any way, shape, or form going for any sort of authenticity or anything, but, you know.
I think the actual museum part of it was fairly authentic, but they did have a lot of tourist trappy elements as well. But the actual historiography of it was pretty much on point.
I think I have to actually say the convenience stores, just having, not least because they're how I managed to, not starve for 2 weeks, but they were just so much different than what you would expect from a convenience store coming from North America.
Yeah.
And they were everywhere, they were convenient, and they were quality. And that's the best thing I could think of for non-naval experience.
I did love how you could walk into 2 7-Elevens, which were practically next to each other on the street, and they would have completely different selections.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a bit weird that you walk from one shop to the other and you're like, you're completely different internally and you have a completely different shelf.
Yes.
There was a lot of overlap I found, at least in a couple of things that I was focusing on for food, like the baked goods and the rice, the onigiri were generally, they differed, but there was a lot of stuff that I could reliably find in any 7-Eleven too.
I think all of us found the bakeries to be far more than we were expecting. I don't think any of us really had mentally taken on the idea that Japanese bakeries were going to be what they were.
No, they were very, very good.
That's the one part I didn't actually end up indulging in, funnily enough.
Weirdo.
I did quite like I don't think you guys, I don't know if you guys actually used, I think you said you used them once, the pepper steak or pepper shack place, sort of semi-fast foodish restaurant where you just get served a whole bunch of meat on a sizzling skillet and cook it yourself.
Yeah, you and I had that, but we went to the non-fast food version of that with myself, Glyn, and Alex did. But to be fair, there wasn't too much difference, and it is a novel idea. And I will admit, the steak wasn't completely terrible.
No, and it was a case of it. Let's put it this way: that was the other thing. The sheer amount of food you can have in Japan and the prices. It was the big shock for me when I came back to the UK, landed, and was at Paddington hunting for food. And I was doing the mental conversion of the prices in my head.
Yeah.
And I was almost having a panic attack at London prices because they were so different to Japan prices.
It's just...
Just so you understand how awful the comparison Japan-Canada is, that's my normal reaction coming home from the UK to Canada. You're talking about coming home from Japan to UK. So imagine how I felt coming back from Japan to Canada. I'm going the other way.
To be fair, this just sounds like a Northerner's reaction to Londoners' prices.
It kind of was.
Anyone's reaction to London prices, to be honest.
Yeah, that's something. I've had some friends over from Norway once, and they went, "Why is there such a difference?"
Because it's London. Yeah,
that's your only answer.
Unless you're in actually fancy places in London, London food is cheaper than food in Toronto or Calgary.
Yeah. Canada's just expensive. It just is.
And your groceries are just cheaper across the board. Canada is a massive country with a limited population, so distribution is expensive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me...
And then both Japan and the UK are smaller countries that are kind of at focal points of world commerce, so the same stuff ends up being... The production cost is probably about the same, but it's just a lot cheaper by the time it gets there.
Yeah, I sort of see both sides of it, because where I am, anything that isn't produced locally, I've got the same issue you do, Glyn. Anything that's produced locally, because I'm like Midwest, so corn is dirt cheap here. So it's kind of weird seeing both sides of that.
We do actually have a related Patreon question for this week, which is actually very, very poignant, and thank you, Timu, for asking it. Now that you're back from Japan for some time now, what's the one thing you find yourself missing most, besides the onsens, of course? The punctual trains, the absurdly polite service, or perhaps those Kit Kat flavors we can only dream of finding in Tesco? She wants to know
the Kit Kat flavors.
Trains.
Like, if
I'm not a public transit person. I hate crowds, but the trains in Japan were just so much. I mean, I'm not even in the UK, so UK transit looks good where I'm coming from. Japanese transit was just incredible.
Makes things work so much easier.
Yeah, that's the thing. The weird thing about it is that, what was it?
I'm still kind of jealous we didn't try Grand Class. I think we should have tried.
Yeah, although that's only available on the Hayabusa, the northern line. I did check. I actually checked to see if I could upgrade at the last minute, but apparently not.
No.
Yeah.
The problem
they were weirdly efficient about certain things.
Yeah. The one thing that... Promise, he took the thing I missed, which was I'm not allowed to do the onsens as the thing I missed, because that's the only thing I really miss. Like, I think, for me, I loved going to Japan. It was
wonderful... I had to
practically
blackmail you to go to that onsen.
It's more the fact that I kind of wanted to savor the proper one, rather than the ones in the city, because it just felt right. And I'm glad I actually waited, because it was really easy for me to use. It was convenient, perfect. It was perfectly easy.
Yeah. It was perhaps too easy in some ways from mine and Dan's perspective.
You forget the lifestyle choices I've made. Anyway, but yeah, it was lovely.
Dan, how goes the counselling?
Oh, for God's sake.
No, I've reassured myself. Basically, I'm perfectly happy getting naked in public. I just need to be drunk first.
Okay.
Now I'm going to ask a variant of Timu's question, unless anyone has anything else they want to add that they miss who hasn't spoken yet.
I enjoyed not being at work. There was an amazing sense of liberation about turning out of office on for about best part of 4 weeks. Just going, whatever comes in my email, I don't have to care.
Nice.
Because I actually don't think I can log into it from overseas, and I haven't got a VPN set up. So, yeah. That was good.
Yeah, I will admit, that's a hell of a feeling for you to actually enjoy. Drac, you got anything?
So, are we still on the, what did we enjoy the most?
No, it was like, what do you miss now that we're back?
What do we miss? What do I miss most about Japan? To be honest, apart from the transport that can get me basically anywhere relatively easily, I would actually say the relative safety. Because I didn't actually at any point care if I was out at night, during the day, on my own, heading off into parts unknown. I was pretty confident after the first couple of days that I'd be perfectly fine, and if I had a problem, there would be some helpful person who would desperately put up with my complete lack of Japanese and try and get me in the right direction. Whereas, that ain't happening in London.
No. So now allow me to take Timu's question and sort of flip it. So I'm going to ask a question based on the question. Is there anything that we all don't miss from Japan? Is there anything that we were, perhaps not keen on, but, not going to be missing the lack of or presence of now that we're back in the UK?
The heat.
Well, yes, that's very true. As well to... for me, the lack of cider was a massive was a massive shock to my system. For one thing,
he says these things and then he tries to claim he's not an alcoholic.
I am not an alcoholic. I am Okay, maybe I'm a functioning alcoholic. Anyway, but anyway, but if I'm gonna be honest, the things that but again, it's weird. It's like, what don't I miss? And again, I'm struggling to come up with things. It was just a nice trip. There wasn't really anything that really I can think of and go, yes, you were a problem. I'm glad you're not there anymore. Like, I can't really think of anything.
Lack of
The
tea
heat
in my
was
pocket.
definitely a downside. And careful phrasing here, the language barrier. That's on me. I went there and I didn't know the language as well as I was hoping to. But it is nice to be somewhere where I'm not having to futz around with Google Translate just to read the signs and the labels on packages, especially the labels on food, given that I do have food allergies. Having to use Google Translate to try and sort out whether something had onion or high fructose corn syrup in it is not my idea of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a...
But it was... I will say this, Japan was one of those countries where I was expecting it to be a lot more difficult for us to get around, to organize ourselves and to integrate as quickly as we did. And I think that's also one of the reasons why Kobe was quite so good for us, because it was relatively built up and we were coming off Tokyo, so we had enough of understanding of how to get around and what we were looking for that we could sort of slot in.
Yeah.
It was definitely really nice to be able to get around everywhere. And yeah, honestly, I loved the trip. Like, I can point to a couple of issues, but they aren't big issues. It was a really good trip in a place where their people are really welcoming and they've got most of the place. Everywhere I went seemed very well set up for people to live there. Not just the visiting, but just they were very livable, walkable spaces, which I thought was really nice.
It was like when we were traveling around. I think I said this at the time. We were traveling around and we were on the Shinkansen, or whether we were on a local train, or we were getting off, going between stations, walking to hotels. Everything just seemed convenient. Elevated walkways to get you where you're going without having to come back down onto pavement level to cross streets or wait for the traffic lights to change. Subway stations built into apartment complexes or shopping centres. Railway stations served by multiple different railway companies with exceptional ease of transfer.
Yeah.
It was just a very nice... It was just very nice. The
example I would give is, consider that diversion you went on where you had 3 different trains to get to Kobe. Or was it Sasebo? Sasebo. In England, imagine trying to do that in the UK. Would those trains have met up in time for you to move them, to get between them?
Well, I have done that in the UK. Funnily enough, that's why I felt so confident. Because I've done that. I did that in the UK for my previous job for like 3 months before we came out to Japan. And funnily enough, while it does work in the UK, you've got to leave a lot more time. So you've got like your train should arrive like 15 minutes beforehand, whereas in Japan you can literally give like 5 minutes and you will make the connection. It will all work.
The only time we didn't rely on minutes for connection was the one into Tokyo, one in Tokyo to get on the Northern Line, because it was one end of Tokyo train station and Tokyo station to the other end of Tokyo station, and we didn't think we could do that in 7 minutes.
Yeah, and also politely, we needed to break that journey when we broke it. We were absolutely right to do that.
And we ended up at the very nice restaurant. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I was going to be really, really nitpicky and say there's one thing I don't miss, like I'd be like, oh, okay, no, I can do without that. In some weird ways, actually, the ridiculously integrated and reliable nature of the public transport network, because it throws into relief just how terrible everywhere else is. because before I theoretically knew that the Japanese public transportation system was a lot better than the one we've got here, and the less said about places like the US, the better.
Or Canada.
Yeah, well, I don't think we tried the Canadian public transport system, which
we did
sounds
one.
like it probably did. We okay.
Don't remember we went into Toronto for the Blue Jays.
Oh yeah.
Don't you remember that experience?
There's a gap in my memory for that bit, probably for a reason.
You didn't try to use Go Transit, did you?
But it's like
we'll get into that one if you want to later.
Having now experienced how it is in fact possible to run a decent public transportation system, I now view our public transportation system with even more hatred and vitriol than I used to.
Funny thing
because they were very good at the joined up thinking thing, so they thought through their options. And it was a case of, yes, this has been sensibly worked out by someone who's thinking, okay, not what necessarily is the most efficient routing, what's the most practical routing, so that people can use it efficiently.
So,
and that was the thing. It worked. It was nice.
So if I hadn't done the job I had been doing for the past 3 months prior to going out to Japan, and therefore using buses, trains, etc. in the UK as much as I had been, doing journeys like as far away from Newcastle to Hull, Newcastle to Sheffield, on a regular basis by rail, and things like that, and bus connections as well in places I'd never been before, I would probably have agreed with Drac. But for me, going out to Japan, and with that direct, literal side-by-side comparison, having come off my last shift at that job literally a week before we flew out, I was impressed by the way in which how many trains they were cramming into things, and just how regular the services were. But I felt our own system compared quite favourably. It's not perfect, grant you, and there's definitely room for improvement, but given how often I used it, it was relatively effective.
And remember that you're arguing between an 8 and a 10, and I'm sitting here in a city that's a 3, and that's good for my country.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That is a good point.
I would like to point out it took me more hours for GWR to get me home from London Paddington to Redroof than it took me to fly from Haneda to Heathrow.
Your mileage south of London may vary. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Timo is asking...
There is a reason why, when it comes to these lovely conferences up in London, I am not booking the sleeper train, and I am getting the train up on the day before and spending extra money on hotels, because I just don't trust it. Whereas if I was in Japan, I probably would get on the Shinkansen and not bother.
Have you taken the sleeper before, Alex?
Yes.
Oh, is it really that bad? I thought it had gotten more reliable.
No, the sleeper is lovely. It's just sometimes it's not the sleeper which is unreliable. If it's running, it's fine. It's just GWR sometimes just cancel the service for no particular reason.
Oh, of course.
It's not the trains which are the problem, and the trains include there's excellent showers at London Paddington you can use, and all sorts of things as part of the service, which is great. But the GWR are yeah.
So, we do have some more questions to get through, and then I'll come back with some of my sort of pre-prepared panel notes later. Yes, I'm trying to do this one professionally. Shock horror. Fleet's actually not random. Yes, don't worry, you'll all get your price of admission back. Bonehill Boy asks, did the panel try any Japanese cheeses, and if so, what did you think? I didn't, lads. Did any of you blokes get round to it?
We tried a few things at a couple of the restaurants. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they were quite nice. I had a Japanese cheese which wasn't cheddar but tasted like cheddar. The Japanese were very careful to label what was considered American cheese for us to avoid.
Yes, because certainly in Britain that doesn't count as cheese.
No.
No, in Canada either, usually.
I think it... Yeah. We had the fried cheese at the nice place in... Well, me, Glyn, and Alex.
the place in Kobe.
Yeah.
Both nights in Kobe, we went to restaurants which were one person bands, and they were good. Rook's is something which is a must visit for going to if you're in Kobe. If you're in Kobe and you don't go to Rook's, you're missing out. Do be warned, you have two options on the menu. I think it's steak and lean steak.
Yeah, sirloin steak or lean steak. Yep.
Yeah. So that was your choice. But it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was definitely
I
worth
think
it.
Our entire meal at the sushi restaurant for 3 of us in Yokosuka was the same as one of the steak dishes at Rook's. But it was worth it.
Mm-hmm. I nearly did a front flip when me and Drac went up to the steak restaurant.
Kobe American.
Yes, Kobe American, and I literally took one look at the menu and I went, Jesus, tap dancing Christ, do I want to be broke or really broke? Luckily, we ended up going, luckily, quote unquote, although I did miss the chance to have proper Kobe beef. I still had Kobe beef in the hotel bar restaurant, but even that was very expensive. That was like £90.
Rook's was cheaper.
Yeah.
So
that was really good.
Gunnorops asks, opinions on the preserved Japanese liner ship museum Hikawa Maru's. That's actually the first place we all went. That was me, Dan, and Drac, I think. Yeah. Do you think it's one of the best preserved ships or ship museums in the world? I think she's very well preserved, but I don't know if I know my colleagues may have the experience and the mileage under their belts, but I don't have enough ship museums under my belt to really make a claim or even attempt to apply or not apply that designation.
He's certainly one of the better preserved ones.
It's a well-preserved ship, but I would say that she's not, and this is, damning with faint praise, other way around, because she was an excellent, very educational, but she's not a very good museum in a lot of ways. Like, there's not really a great deal of exhibits or explanation. It's mostly just, here's the ship, walk through her, she's perfectly preserved, which is amazing and incredible in itself. But it did feel, if you're talking about her as a museum ship as opposed to simply a preserved ship, it feels like potentially they could do more, but what they've got there is she is extraordinarily well preserved. And I'm not much better at Fleet than having the mileage to say that she's the best, but she's definitely well preserved.
She had a fairly good number of information cards, which were bilingual, which was quite nice to see.
Yeah, I guess I was just going to say the thing with her is that she's a bit of a rarity because she's it's going to sound strange. She's slightly unexceptional. Because she was, she's about a 10,000 registered gross registered tons, cargo passenger ship.
Not many of them left.
Built between the wars, and she's got a great big diesel, which is looking beautifully maintained.
2 of them, yeah, they were really nice, weren't they?
Yeah.
From Denmark, of all places.
Yeah. And then kind of she's got the preserved Art Deco first class stuff. I would have quite liked it if they'd opened up one of the cargo holds just so we could see how big an entity that was. But you don't see that kind of thing. But those were something very much like that is kind of the type of thing that was what you want to be using for all your kind of Malta convoys or whatever else. Was a fairly fast, decent.
That's why I say she was probably really important to see, and I'm really glad we saw her because, like you said, this was kind of the standard ship, and we don't have very many. And by the vice of the virtue is that the standard is often not preserved, and yet in some ways the standard is almost the more important thing for us to be able to look back on rather than the special, the exceptional.
It's that we don't have any third rates, but we've got the first rate, and we've got the with victory. Yeah, so in that sense, she's really impressive, and yeah, because I actually ended up going around to her twice, and enjoyed it both times, and was not necessarily different things going around twice, but enjoyed it both times, and actually felt it was rewarding to go around twice. Yeah. I mean, me like.
Yeah, I mean, what I think I would say it's a very different experience because I'm used to obviously going on museum warships. So there's a lot that's compared to most museums that I would go to. There's a lot that's missing because there's no guns, there's no fire control, all that stuff above deck. And as a result, you don't spend too much time above deck. But then I think for a merchant vessel, she's about the right size because she's big enough to have a good wander around and be interesting. But she's also small enough that you get through the various bits that could otherwise be quite samey relatively quickly. Because I mean, I haven't been on her, but I can imagine if the Queen Mary over on the US West Coast, I mean, I know they've obviously refitted her as other stuff, but if you were touring like a Queen Mary or Normandy sized cruise ship, it'll be like, and here's the third deck of cabins, and here's the fourth deck of cabins, and it's going to take you 20 minutes just to walk the length of the deck, and all the cabins are the same. Whereas with the Hekau Maru, it was like, here is a third class cabin, and in about 2 minutes you'll be at the first class cabins, and a minute after that you'll be at the captain's cabin, and then you'll be on something else. So there was no kind of prolonged boredom sections.
Mm-hmm. It was nice. It was a lot of fun to go up.
And I think actually something which I would say reflects across the board in the Japanese museum ships, which was quite nice, especially from a photography perspective, is that because Japan is a fairly rules-abiding society, most of the stuff was, here is the stuff, please look at it. And if there were bits they didn't want you to go into, there was a very minimal barrier and a little sign that said, please don't go here. Which meant that if you wanted to have a good look, or you wanted to take photos or whatever, there wasn't 4 million sheets of extremely reflective, scratched up perspex between you and what you were trying to get at. No. Whereas on almost any other museum ship in any other country, you will have all those safeguards and safety barriers and security and everything, which can make it very difficult to actually appreciate what's behind the barrier or to record it in video or photo format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical asks, opinions on the JM SDF museum. Did you see the Dash drone? My first question to answer that would be a question. Which JM SDF museum?
I think probably the Kure one if he's talking about the Dash drone.
Yes, the Kure one. Yes, that was. We did see the JM SDF museum, and it is very good. One thing I will just say, and I am going to leave some of my colleagues to talk about everything because I do have to check on a certain something that is barking very loudly, see if she's okay, because we're both just me and her in the house tonight. Is the Japanese really do like to show off their minesweeping capability, and rightly so. Like, they're justly proud.
Also, the Coast Guard like to show off their kills.
Yes, definitely.
And we got to learn that mines do move in herds.
Yeah. And The thing I know I've said this now a few times, but I'm going to say this again because my colleagues may disagree with me, but I doubt they will. It was realizing that the Japanese Coast Guard has had more warfighting experience since World War II than most navies had.
Actually, speaking of that, with the Coast Guard Museum, I did find it very funny that like the Yokohama Coast Guard Museum was quite literally, here is a North Korean spy ship we sank. Look at how silly they were. It is basically like an entire.
Here's all the evidence that it's North Korean, and they say it isn't theirs.
Yeah, it's like here's basically our kind of let's all mock the North Koreans for being dumb museum, but done in such a Japanese way of just like you get the message without them ever having to say anything other than this is what happened. Here are the pure facts of the matter.
Yes, it was very, very well done.
Oh.
And I would say also the other thing I did sort of really sort of see with the Japanese is they were very good at doing the whole understated history thing. It was, we don't need to stick this in your face. Here's the evidence. You'll draw your own conclusion. One interesting thing is going around Etajima as well. I saw so many reports from people going, this is a shrine to these people and this sort of people. And I was going, it is, in a way, but it's also a case of these are people who, from the Japanese warfighting perspective, were their heroes in some regards.
And
you sort of expect that from a museum attached to a military academy. You expect it to be presenting the examples you want people to follow in a way.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, it's like there's the... I forget the flipping name of the thing. The problematic shrine, the one that we didn't go to.
Yes.
Yanakuni?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So obviously we didn't go there, so I don't know exactly what they do there firsthand, other than just secondhand reports and stuff. But the way the stuff was presented at Etajima, it's. I mean, obviously, there's no such thing as purely standard, but it was relatively standard for, as you say, a war museum. Because I'm pretty sure a Frenchman who comes to see, the National Maritime Museum section on Nelson is probably not going to have the world's most positive feelings towards it. And if you go to the U.S. Navy Academy in Annapolis, obviously they make a big deal of John Paul Jones, who's. I mean, to be honest, I don't really care too much about HMS Serapis, but he's just a generally unpleasant character, objectively speaking.
It was quite interesting as a British person going around seeing how many displays they had on various museums of John Paul Jones, Horatio Nelson, and Togo Hayachiro.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there going, one of these is
well,
not
there was
like
a reason
the
I picked those particular examples, because it's just like it's like in each of their home countries, you get certain people or conflicts or whatever who are not necessarily semi-deified, but put a bit on a pedestal.
I mean,
but if you're not from that
Togo,
place,
yes, they have.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's a Togo. Of course, they have actually deified him. But it's like if you're not from that place, or you're from the place that they were fighting, it can seem a bit out of kilter to you. But that's certainly with Etajima, they were no better or worse than a lot of other places I've been to that people don't really raise too much of an issue with. At least as far as I could tell, because obviously most of the text and stuff is in Japanese, but from the way they presented it, I didn't get the feeling that they were trying to justify the war the way that they do sometimes apparently at Yanakuni. It was more a case of this is the thing that happened, these are the artifacts of the people who fought it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can there's one of the things about where we were in Japan and everything, I get a reasonably strong sense of there's kind of times and places for things. And so a bit like with kind of Hiroshima, there's, the memorial is about the victims of the bomb and how devastating it was and all of that. And you go somewhere else for all the other stuff about it, and that's fine. And the people who they were memorializing who had been kamikaze pilots or whatever, they had given their lives in defense of their homeland as they saw it, as they have been told. And for the most part, these are people who will have totally grown up with, after the 1932 sort of Manchuria stuff, and things were getting less pleasant in Japanese politics, shall we say? And for their families, it's to me, it is acceptable for them to be remembered in one place by kind of their spiritual heirs in the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces, even if the rest of the time we're kind of going, yeah, but let's make sure we don't make people do this again.
Yeah.
But they did it, and their families were kind of told they're doing an honorable thing, and yeah, there's just so I didn't find it troublesome in that sense.
There's a certain degree of respect that's due to the people who fought for their country, even in a war where even to the next future generations of that country, it seems clear that they were on the wrong side. They still were fighting for what seemed like good reasons, and they were fighting to protect their families and their country, and that is still owed some respect.
And the other thing is, for the most part, what they were doing, because I think the thing about the place we didn't go to in Tokyo is they are kind of lauding people who were convicted war criminals or would have been indicted and probably hanged or whatever for war crimes had they not died. Whereas these people didn't do that.
No. They were as much victims as anyone else.
But also they were fighting soldiers, sailors, and airmen. They were not doing this to civilians or something. They were not doing this to people who'd surrendered any more than, that kind of thing happens in war. Almost by accident, because, they weren't doing that deliberately. So, yeah, I can kind of, I don't have a particular problem with that bit, if that makes sense.
No. Basically, I think the thing for me is that the Japanese are quite right to honor and respect the service of their enlisted sailors, airmen, and soldiers during the war, just as basically any nation can. But as long as it comes with the recognition, and I think Dan hit upon it quite well, that, while the enlisted men were, for the most part, the same crop of young men from all countries who went away to serve for their country, for their family, or for some other reason, there is, unfortunately, and to be fair, the Japanese I did see in some museums this was hinted upon, there was a certain streak that, things did occur, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's me being very tactful, deliberately so.
Yeah, they had what's the right way of putting it? They had individuals who were not very nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Not people you'd invite round for dinner.
No, perhaps not. Typical. So we got a lot from typical gunnery officer, which is all right, sure. A lot of them are questions I was going to actually get to anyway, so in a sense, he's doing me a favor. did any of you feel the vibe of Admiral Togo on board the Mikasa, like where he stood during the war in his staff room or stateroom? I mean, I don't know about you chaps, but when I was up on the compass platform, looking out over the forward 12-inch gun turret and then out to sea, you did kind of get a sense of what she might have been like at sea.
That was a powerful position to be sat in, and I was up there when there was sea sprite, and it was sort of a greyish day, foggish day, and it was... Yeah, although I have to admit, at a certain point, I think the person on the gate who I was buying the tickets from just thought I was going to be living there because he'd seen me so often.
I mean, to be fair, you did try and do that, I think, with Haida, and possibly also with Vampire.
With Vampire, in the nicest way, they couldn't get me off her. And Haida as well, they also had issues. But, you know, these things happen.
Unlike Haida and Vampire, you definitely couldn't steal Mikasa, though. There was concrete.
Yeah, and they've taken our engines out.
Yep. It's very sad.
It was.
And on that note, unfortunately, I am out of time, so I will have to bail. Thank you for inviting me, Fleet. And
always a pleasure, Glenn. Don't be a stranger.
Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the chat. Have a good one.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Look after yourself.
So we've got a few more things to get through. So did any of us try karaoke? I know I didn't. I don't think any of us managed to get round to it, did we?
No, that comes on the same line.
Is listed in the Geneva Convention as a war crime.
Yeah, same. It would be up there with many other bad things like slaughtering civilians and finding nice groups of surrendered people and killing them all. Apparently it's not the done thing. Who knew?
Typical Gunnery Officer asks again, do you mind people's opinions on how ugly modern Japanese buildings are, even though they're built to withstand massive earthquakes? Oh no, ugly. No. Modern Japanese buildings, for the most part, were beautiful. Genuinely. Like the Maritime Museum in Kobe, the hotel in Kobe was very, very nice. And a lot of the buildings in Tokyo, despite all you're able to see being buildings, as skyscrapers and inner city buildings go, they're not bad lookers. Although I'll let the civil engineer put his hat into the ring before I say anything else.
There's certainly far more offensive modern architecture. I mean, heck, they've got the Donager in Yokohama.
Oh yeah,
that's a brilliant example of modern architecture.
That was really strange to look up to from the bottom of the bottom of the dockyard or the dry dock, looking straight up. That you thought you were in a spaceport or something. It was that. It could have been a blooming space elevator, a space elevator. The way it looms so much over you. Or at least the docking point for one, because it was just. Yes. Did you go and stand at the bottom of the dry dock at all, Drac? There?
What, of Nippon Maru? No.
No. Yeah. I stood in the bottom of the dry dock, looking up at the Donager building, because we'd found it coming out of the where we'd ended up for lunch, I think, at some point, or some food or something. Yeah, and we just sort of came out and looked at it and just going, "Oh my lord!"
Yeah, me and Drac had gone to, obviously, we and Drac discovered it first. We got into this cable car, we went out with the thing that says, and you said, Fleet, does that look like a Donager class battleship to you? And I went, yeah, no, Drac, that's it was so tall you could see it from Yokosuka, from the top of the Mercure Yokosuka.
I can't remember what it's officially called.
Well, it's a meeting place building, isn't it? It was the something.
It's actually like the Yokohama landmark building or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was something like that. Yeah.
No, I just looked on my map. It is literally Yokohama landmark building.
Well, it definitely is a landmark. You can't miss it.
Uh,
One thing I will say is that, did anyone notice that things seemed to be inside of other things? So, for example, you had that model train museum. Like, you walked into an innocuous building, and then there's literally a sign saying Model Railway Museum this way, and you go up these escalators, and there it is. Like,
yeah.
Whereas in the UK, you'd have like a separate building or an annex or something. A lot of things in Japan seem to be just inside buildings that are just dual-use commercial spaces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sensible, because it kind of means that their building has another income that keeps the museum going. It's like that they are part of a business, which is, it's quite common for businesses to have their own museums. Mitsubishi has quite a few of them.
Yes, that is because most of Japan is a subsidiary of Mitsubishi Heavy Industry.
Well, not entirely. Yeah, it's
the JMF SDF is basically it's like the East India Company had its own military. Mitsubishi has the JMSDF.
Yeah.
No, Mitsubishi has Japan.
Yeah, that's just no. He's not wrong there. Like,
it was just it became such a running meme. It was everything's a subsidiary of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. We'd say it as a joke, then we'd see the sign underneath the major company name or whatever we were looking at, or say the little sign in small letter saying a subsidiary of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and we just go, "Oh God, we were joking," and it is.
Yeah, this is.
Or you'd look it up. You look it up afterwards on Wikipedia and be like, "Yes, and this was ultimately spun off from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries back in da 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 da," and you're like,
yeah, it's just
go away.
Please. Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah, they are an impressive organization in terms of the amount of stuff they seem to have
their reach and scope.
Yes, that's the best. That is absolutely the best way of putting it. I mean, it's just.
I'm fairly certain as a country, you could basically turn up after being completely defenestrated of everything, and if you just had a bank balance, turn up to Mitsubishi and go, "We'd like to rebuild our whole country, and here's a check, just go do it," and they would have everything. You need an armed forces, we can equip your armed forces. You need bridges, we can do bridges. You need trains, here are trains.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is that is what they could do. Like Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, do you want everything? As in literally everything. I'm sure you can't. No, we can do literally everything.
There is literally nothing you will want that we cannot supply.
Yeah. I really did enjoy. Like, another weird thing for me was in Tokyo proper. So I'm sure we all rode the KK line a couple of times, right?
Yes.
I found it really weird that, like, it's the KK line. Like, this is something that happened in Japan as well. Like, things become other things, then turn back to being something else. So a KK line train becomes a metro train, becomes a different train. And it's just very confusing. Or it was for the first few days.
I've kind of seen that with some bits of the tube where you have kind of lines that will run sort of in parallel, but one might skip a load of stops or whatever, or where they're sharing track. So it was more like that to me. Because you have bits where it's kind of Hammersmith and City and District and Circle Line. It doesn't matter which one of them you get; they'll all take you to the same, 3 stops you're going, whatever.
Yeah, of course, the difference with this was the added complexity of, I don't know, it would be like a London Overground train dropping down onto a deep level London Underground line for like 3 stops, then leaving again. Like that's what it was for me. Like that was like the kind of weird shock factor it was for me at first. Also, those weird travelators. Go on, Dan.
I was going to say I grew up by a stretch where 2 tube lines do run next to each other, and one is where the Metropolitan line and the Jubilee line run next to each other, but the Metropolitan line skips about 2 out of every 3 stops. And one is tall and one is small.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with. So I'm biased in that sense.
I mean, I had a few like shocks in Japan, but I do have something I want to raise with you, chaps. I was surprised by how there wasn't a massive culture shock. I was expecting a massive culture shock to be thrown off my feet completely, but it just wasn't that. There was a little bit of adjustment to do when we got there, but it wasn't the massive culture shock I thought it was going to be. Anyone else have anything similar to that? Anything about Japan you were expecting that just didn't pan out?
I think the only thing that came through to me compared to what I was expecting compared to what I didn't get, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Would be the level of politeness. So the impression I'd got going in from talking to people was that that Japanese society was extremely formal. Like, put a foot wrong word, wrong expression, and you are really in for it. Now, admittedly, some of it may be them just going, oh, look at the silly gaijin, they don't know what they're doing. We make allowances for them in their uncultured ways. But I found that, generally speaking, as long as you were, reasonably polite, smiled, and had a good bow on you, you were basically fine. They'd just be like, oh, okay, you're making an effort. Good on you. We'll go the rest of the way.
That was more the thing. As long as you're making the effort, they would tolerate a lot of. They were quite happy to tolerate you being, how to put this lightly, uncultured, or going. I'm not sure what to do here. And it was basically, if you can admit, I don't know what I'm doing here. It's like, I would say the most helpful people I found when I was trying to work out the onsen and using them, because that's how I kept my back going for most of the trip, were the Japanese themselves. Usually the tourists in there were that they expected you to know what you were doing, whereas what I found funny was the amount of the fact, and this is going to sound strange, but please bear with me. The instructional videos all put it forward as a certain way of you going into an onsen. They always showed you wearing underwear. So I thought, when I initially went to the onsen, and especially the public ones, I thought I knew the very high ones you weren't supposed to wear underwear, wear any clothes at all. But I thought the very public ones in things like hotels, they wouldn't be so worried about. To be honest, the Japanese people mostly didn't seem to care much about it. But a lot of the tourists or people who were there who were residents, they were far more hot on this subject than us. You're not supposed to. I do realize you're not supposed to, but it was a case of all the videos in the hotels for you to go to it always had people wearing underwear. And it was things like that. We sort of going, that's different than I was expecting.
Yeah, my kind of take on things was very much that the positive kind of stereotypes I'd picked up from popular culture and things were proved correct, and actually anything that you might have thought would be negative wasn't. They were just really nice, and it was a nice place to visit, and they weren't, there wasn't kind of weirdness or anything. It was just really nice.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the takeaway from this trip that I think we can all agree on. It was a nice trip. There's nothing I can think of that really makes me go, "Oh, that was a sore spot." No, there's nothing. It was just a nice trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
There's one
a nice trip.
I think to round us off as a nice little fun note, but questions. So T-Boo's asking, here's one for you. During your time in Japan, did any mascots manage to catch your eye? I know it wasn't exactly a holiday, but even the most serious museum tour can't quite escape Japan's love of mascots. That is very true. Was it Kumanon doing his tireless rounds for Kumato, SoftBank's ever-dutiful white dog Otosan, or perhaps something a bit more scholarly like Tohaku-kun from the Tokyo National Museum? Go on, which one managed to slip past your professional composure and end up in the camera roll? I don't think I took one for the camera roll, but there were mascots everywhere.
So there was from the shop at the Hokkaido Maru, whose name I've just butchered again. I got a really cute little seal in a captain's outfit, because that seems to be the symbol for the thing for Yokohama is a seal.
Aww.
As in, arr, give it fish. Thing.
Good seal impression, Dad. Well done.
Yep.
That Drax spent quite a lot of time hunting for a one for me, the HMS Warspite.
Mm-hmm.
And he, when I say Drax spent a lot of time trying, he really spent a lot of time trying to hunt it down.
And I've got there was some really cute where are they? Just trying to find them now. There were some pictures of the kind of I think it was chibified. Sorry, I've got up to try and look through all my stuff. Things of who were they? They were the there was the Chinook Kukan or something, and what was the other one? An Osprey San or something.
Yeah,
they were just so cute.
They were.
And I do have your train Captain Pikachu for your mum.
Yes.
Alex.
Yeah.
And of course, if we're talking about mascots, how can we forget the emotional support submarine?
Yes, that is home. That is with me. That has been providing emotional support for the last couple of weeks, and it's doing very well in the job. It has torpedoed and it has torpedoed many threats to my emotion, and might have caused my poor sister to have a mild panic attack at certain points.
Oh dear.
Someone might have left it so that when she was it might have started turning up in random places around the house, and there might be a composition between two members of the family as to who can scare her most by it turning up in a random place looking at her.
Dr. Clark, you're not using the emotional support submarine as a wolfpack tactic, are you? Surely not.
Merely as a silent hunter.
Sibling torture is an entirely acceptable thing to be doing.
Yes, that is true. It is. It is something that we have all engaged in, those of us who have had siblings at one point or another. I did have a few step-siblings for a while.
The mascot that came home with me was the little white fluffy bird that is the Hokkaido mascot.
Yay!
The Shima Inaga. I got a Shima Inaga mini backpack for my daughter.
Oh
She
yeah,
loves it.
good.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
She's named it Peep, and she walks up to it and nuzzles its face, going Peep.
Oh my God! Please stop! You're gonna. make me die of cuteness.
And then sometimes she walks up to me and goes, "Papa, peep on back," because it's a backpack.
Oh my
And then she
God.
wanders around with it for a few hours.
Oh my God, please stop. You are going to make me die of cuteness overload. Like, this is gonna, like, please stop. I only have so much sugar resistance in my body. Please stop. And on that lovely, adorable description of cuteness, I think it is time for us to. I think we've pretty much covered all the bases. And I know Drac did his video for more specifically naval related things that he did on his own channel. But we've covered a lot of we've basically covered everything I wanted to cover. A lot of the generic parts of it. So I hope you've all enjoyed this, everybody. For once, we've actually had more people on YouTube consistently than we have had on Discord, which is actually a nice thing to see.
Yeah, it's growing.
So, yeah. So thank you, Drac, Alex, and Dr. Dan for showing up. Thank you, Glyn, who is not here with us right now, but will probably be listening at some point in the future, since he does like to listen back to things after we do them. As do I occasionally. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Those of you in the panel who are no longer here, thank you obviously also for being here as well. Take care, everybody, and I will catch all of you if you're on Twitch. Oh, hang on. Thank you. Thank you, Knight, for the reminder. Thank you for reminding me of that. There we go. Questions are now... Thank you. Thank you, Knight.